There we go. Refreshing. Re mi da si mo. Okay. I'm prepared for the twists. What's the matter? So we're just gonna end. I keep hitting B by accident. I'm playing Judgment. So now I'm going from one courtroom to another. But now we're ending this court case. And I'm starting another court case. I'm obsessed with the law. I love the law. Peach trees. What kind of drink was that? One in a cup. One with a straw. Like a liquid kind. Here, does it look like caca? Like the look of that? Let me just get a good of a... Refreshing. Never heard of it? It's Eska. Cup? Cuppa? Wash it down with some purification juice, aqua water. Let's get right into it. Let's see the end of this. I forgot this is where we saved. What a great shot. While Mr. Graydon answered my questions, the inspector appeared to have grabbed Nash skulking by his coat and was shaking him violently. Yeah, he did and all. Thought me noggin was gonna fall clean off, I did. I was wishing I'd been born as me brother, I was. Me little brother. And what exactly happened to make the detective attack you like that? I ain't got a clue. He just suddenly grabbed me and grabbed me whistle like that and started shaking me. Why the blazes didn't you mention the third gun when we got you down on station? That's what he said. You like it, Bacon? It's acting. He held it right down my ear. Oh, he did. My head's still rubbing. The way the detective behaved then was extremely out of character. But looking back now, it only did. It must have been that he... Oh, I didn't catch that. What was that? Hold on, Renosuke. I'm going back to read that. I didn't quite catch that. The way the detective behaved was extremely out of character, but looking back now, it must have been then that he did it. That was the opportunity Inspector Gregson created for himself in order to hide the disc. Well, bless my wig, he hid it? You. I can't remember what accent we did for Gregson. Sometimes it's hard to understand Connor when he speaks like that. True. He just gets a little too spicy. You roil him up. But I'm afraid I fail to comprehend the motive here. If the detective had acquired the disc he was after, why on earth would he then proceed to hide it in another man's pocket? This is a court of law. He could have just submitted the item as evidence. Can I get a refund? Yeah, hold on. Let me just, Let me see. Let me see. Hold on, let me see. Twitch says no. I'm sorry. Hey, you see this? Is this coming in clear for you? Is this for me, or is this for you? Do you want this, or am I getting this? Oh, okay. Both. You want to see it? But then I'm also getting one. He's like we're doing stereoscopic right now. We're looking at 3 dimensions. It would appear, my lord, that the inspector was not at liberty to do that. My nose just started running. Perfect. Why ever not? Oh, and I just bumped myself. Chell says when she bumps her nose, she gets watery. Like, her eyes start watering. She starts crying, basically. When I bump my nose just starts flooding.
Oh yeah, that's like instant, like, can't help it, I start crying.
Yeah, it's like, the floodgates open. It's like I just busted the dam. As the man himself revealed earlier, his current assignment has some special conditions. Gregson. My orders were recover the medium used to convey secrets leaked from the ministry. He busted. I busted the dam. Do it on the QT. Strictly hush hush. Hey, hey, hey. That's 3 Johns. I don't see any Johns. Hello, Memer. Hush, hush. A top secret assignment, is it? As far as we're aware, the information stolen comes from the confidential government communications. It would seem that if the information were to be revealed in court as evidence, it would be problematic. It has been a while. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. What's next? Oh, I don't know if I've updated that recently. Well, today, I guess we're adding Outlast, but I'm expecting to finish that today. Does that sum up the situation, Inspector? Oh. I'm operating under direct orders from the Ministry. I'm afraid I'm not at liberty to answer that question. So, realizing there was a chance that you may be searched here in court, you took steps to hide the disc you had acquired from the witness. I think we talked about Shadow of the Colossus hard mode last time. It's on there. It's on the list. I'm gonna get to it. When I'm like completely lost for something to play, I'm gonna replay Shadow of the Colossus. Bang that out in one night. He only pretended to attack Mr. Skulkin in order to get close enough to him. Slipped the second disc into his pocket. So it was all a pretense? Oh yeah, Graydon's still bleeding. I mean, maybe it's dried now. He's been sitting like this for a long time. He's had his arms up to here for ages. You know, keep your arms elevated. Monster Hunters. I'm pretty sure I say speedrun it. We will. We will. It's gonna be a one-nighter. I can beat that game in a couple hours. Anything on the list, order is meaningless. Anything on the list, on the docket, order is meaningless. The only thing that matters, that if I have it like a day oneer, we can remove Skatebird. Skatebird we did. Dunzo. We're done with, no, we're on the bench. Skatebird's on the bench. Hello, subtitles. Let's, we can go through the docket one day. There'll be like a chunk of stream. Because it sucks. Just hear Chelsea in the background. Fuck off. She's playing Battlefield 5 and getting owned like a not gamer. No excuses. Are you prepared to admit to the accusation made against you of this alleged deal? Well? Admit to it. Yours truly, please. Mr. Graydon. Clearly our eastern visitor has an uncommonly active imagination. However, there's no proof that I passed the disc to the inspector.
Objection!
Actually, I saw you do it. But then, how do you explain the reason why you knew about the peephole? I'm under no obligation to explain. What? Yes, I lied in my testimony. That I admit, so sentence me accordingly. But that is all I admit. Murder? Leaking government secrets? Striking a deal with a detective? All of it is this young Eastern man's fancy. I have no idea what any of that is about. You... What? The burden of proof is on me. I gotta lay this man to rest. Well, what about you then, Inspector Gregson? Do you admit to making a deal with Mr. Graydon in order to acquire the disc? Stuff my fish in my pocket. Ladies and gents of the jury, as a Scotland Yard inspector, I will declare this and nothing more. We're gonna play any spooky co-op games? Maybe. Personally? Like, just in general? I really wish No More Room in Hell 2 came out this month. I keep looking at it on my wish list. I want to play it. I'm acting in the best interest of the country. Whatever I've done, it's in the name of justice. Oh, I love justice. I'm a juror. I love justice. Us together as a group of gamers, Sunshine Amigos? If we can find something, sure. Oh, we could play Phas. You want to play Phasmophobia? Does that count? Because they added a bunch of stuff to that game now. So, as members of the public of this fine country, I'd like to think that justice will be your guide and light when you're making your decisions. Oh. I can schedule that in, maybe. Thank you, 1 star. Bless us with your presence. That is quite the quandary indeed. Rarely have I encountered such extraordinary tumultuousness in the concluding of a trial. Nevertheless, in the absence of any further evidence to be presented, I believe it is time that we put the matter to the jury for their final leanings. Well now, as a fellow servant of Queen and country, I must say I sympathize with the old inspector. Yes, he's a dependable man, I'm quite sure. In service, one becomes a good judge of character. Even crossing your eyes doesn't help when it comes to looking at this case. It's all blurred to me. We should be able to shoot the ghosts with a gun. There is a game where you can do that. I think I saw that. I was looking, as I do, I clear out thousands of games a week on Steam through curation. I say I'm not interested in this or that or this. I'm never buying that. And I think I saw one that's like Phas but with guns. Well, as a fellow professional, I like to put my faith in the detective freely. Graydon is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in the presence of an idol. Stop. The detective has very much trust in eyes. More than this, I cannot say. I wish I was gonna go see the Gabagool movie. Here's the Gabagool you ordered. Eh? What'd you think? You like it? I got it fresh. Just got it brought in, man. The Gabagool, just off the chopping block. I don't believe it. These 6 jurors they're going to believe Gregson and declare their decision now. Is Jenny gonna be found guilty? If I don't manage to produce some definitive evidence right now, then we're going to lose. Either some proof that Graydon killed Mr. Windibank or stole the government secrets, or some evidence to force Gregson into admitting that he struck a deal with the witness. Just go see it, simply? I can't, dude. It's not playing right now. It's not playing right now. They're playing it near you because, you know, hometown advantage. I think it's time I imposed on the jurors to declare their final decisions, no? That is, unless you have some compelling evidence that you have thus far not presented to the court. I'm not gonna let that happen. So there's no choice then, Runo. We have to throw some evidence at them. This is it now. It all comes down to this. shit. I'm saving. I don't want to make the wrong choice. This could end it. Let's show some evidence to... What do I got? Do we have any bloods that's not spoken for? No. Inspector Gregson. Inspector Gregson, there is one final piece of evidence I would like you to see. Eh, what's that then? If you refuse to acknowledge that you did, in fact, strike a deal with the witness here today, then you leave us no choice but to examine this piece of evidence thoroughly. Well, go on then. This is my last chance. It looks like I'm gonna have to force his hand here. Okay. Are you gonna do another Steamfest demo stream? Wait, is Steamfest going on? If so, probably. I love doing the Steamfest demo streams, dude. So fun. If that's happening right now and they got a bunch of new demos, I'm 100%. So fun. I love playing the demos, legit though. Sometimes the games are real jank. Is that you? Oh, it's probably the thing off Amazon. It's probably the thing off Amazon. You have to grab it. Chelsea isn't gonna go grab it.
I'm grabbing it.
Don't worry about hiding yourself. I can't, she's so far. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at a bunch of the demos. If there's anything cool, I'll get a bunch of them and we'll play. Well, I'll play. Making Chelsea get the door, huh? Otherwise, I can't answer your question, you know? I want to answer your question. To get the detective to admit to the deal he clearly struck with Graydon. How do I... 7 whole days to play every demo? We'll probably just do one stream. I think last time we did like 2.5. We'll probably just do one stream. 3 or 4 demos. Have to cherry pick. I'll have to go through them tonight. Or over the weekend. We'll see.
Take that!
Oh, it's right. Play some porn games? I don't think there's any available for the... I mean, I haven't looked at them, but I don't think there's any available. I don't think people make those kinds of things. You can, as long... You can stream them. You can stream a game with nudity as long as nudity's not the main focus. Is that Mr. McGilda's Peculiar Music Box Council? Yeah, with a disc already in place, ready to play. I think perhaps now would be a good time to listen to the other sound produced by the music box again. Or to the sound. The main focus is the story. I'm invested in the lore. With the second disc, we just discovered set in place as well. Goodness, this disc council?
All right.
No, wait, I can't let you do that. Why not? But because, well, because it's got nothing to do with this case. That's why.
Objection!
Not true, Inspector. Eh? The defense has already proposed that the sounds heard by the court earlier in this music box were part of a Morse code message. Gotcha. We know that the Morse code compromises of two distinct tones, dashes and dots. The defense believes the second disc contains the second tone needed to complete the message, and now we have the chance to confirm that theory. For crying out loud, Sunshine, we're talking about state secrets here. If you go letting the whole courtroom hear confidential information like that, it's treason. And do you admit to the charge? That in order to protect these state secrets, you engaged in unlawful dealings? I'm pretty sure this is considered a crime. You're not. If you let that secret information out to the public domain, you'll be making an enemy of the entire British government, you idiot.
Objection!
You idiot. Let's not forget, Inspector, that you, a Scotland Yard officer, leaked confidential case details to a witness. That you continue to lie in the court, and all because, by fair means or foul, you're determined to do your duty. Not a crime yet. It's made into law after this case. They go, oh, fuck, man, you probably shouldn't be able to force someone to do something by threatening them with something else. Don't you dare. I will stop at nothing to protect my client. I don't care who I'm making an enemy of. Beric von Zieks is like, oh fuck, dude. I gotta take a sip at this mad lad. My lord, if you please. The court must hear the sounds made by that music box. Come on, von Zieks, for Pete's sake, stop him.
Objection!
The leg! The leg! Inspector, you should know my methods by now. I'm a prosecutor. I'm no Scotland Yard puppet. That's a sexy leg. He knows, that's why he slams it in front of us, like a slab of meat. In this courtroom, my duty is to the law, so let me propose a toast to uncovering the truth, by fair means or foul. Yes, please. Yes. Yes, please. Very well. The defense's stance here is that of the prosecution, and that of the prosecution have been made very clear, I feel. Therefore, in accordance with the defense's request, the court will now listen to the music box. Okay. Someone get your Morse code detector out, okay? This time, with the second disc in place, both discs playing simultaneously. She hit the flow. Next thing you know. Alright, I admit it. Whatever you want, but by the love of God, shut that bloomin' box up. It's a beat. That shit slaps. Let me ask you again then, Inspector Gregson. Did you, or did you not, strike a deal with the witness next to you in the stand, Mr. Ashley Graydon? Specifically, did you furnish the witness with the confidential case details in exchange for this music box disc? Did you reveal the existence of the peephole in the pawnbroker's storeroom, Inspector? Well, I did. Great. I got you now. Stop. What are you doing, man? It's all exactly like the young Eastern lawyer said. When the trial resumed after the recess, and we were stood here in the stand together, that's when he approached me with the deal. Shut up, you imbecile. Shut up. Shut up. Psst, you there. You're the detective who turned up at the pawnbroker the other day, aren't you? I may have something you're looking for, Inspector, with me at this very moment, as he undid his coat buttons. So how about a trade? I suggest you accept. All the information that may make certain individuals uncomfortable will soon be very public indeed. I wonder what it is. I couldn't let that information become public knowledge, not under any circumstances. So I accepted the man's proposal, and I told him the details of the case that should have put him in the clear. The peephole on the storeroom door, and the bloodstains on the overcoat. By giving false testimony, this witness intended to have the defendant wrongly accused of murder. Inspector, you knew that. Yet you still revealed those details to facilitate the witness's perjury. Shut up. I did. But then it turned out the people had only been made that night, after the incident took place. Scotland Yard wasn't aware of that, if I'm perfectly honest. Well, Mr. Graydon, what do you have to say for yourself? Ugh. Ooh. I'm bleeding. I've still got blood dripping from me. There's nothing more and no one left for you to hide behind. You struck a deal with the inspector in order to escape conviction of a very serious crime. Namely this. You are the third intruder who broke into the pawnbrokery on the night in question. And you perpetrated the murder of the proprietor, Mr. Pop Windabank. You. Traitor! Stop him! Someone stop him! His chips! I like how the two brothers are just gone. They left. Bailiff, restrain that man at once. Is his cane permanently broken then? It's all over. Ellipses. I despised my life growing up. No, this isn't Gregson. Those slums are a vile place. I was cursed from birth, born into poverty, the son of a penniless artisan. My parents did nothing but quarrel all day long. What little money there was never spent on me. Oh, shit. Oh. So I set about studying to better myself, to one day escape from that hellhole. And you eventually became a communications officer. I admire your determination. But then you decided to try and sell government secrets? Why? Isn't it obvious? Because I wanted money. Even now, years later, the nightmares of my life in the slums wake me in the small hours. I wanted to drown them out with more money, and more money, and even more money. And one day I met him, Mr. Magnus McGilded. You're a fiend with a queer talent, so you are. I've money to throw your way if you're interested. All you need to do is go along with me little plan now. I was to steal the ministry's telegraphic message logs, and McGilded would buy them for a handsome sum. As I was responsible for the inspections of the ministry's communications office, it was a simple enough task. The lure of the devil's offerings, how easy it is to succumb. But you must surely have realized the seriousness of the crime you were committing. And for that reason, I took great lengths to ensure that my actions were untraceable. By using the music box. My father was a brickmaker, though my mother divorced him while I was still a child. That's right. He was very skilled with his hands. He'd once been a music box maker's apprentice. I imagined his skills would be sufficient to create a machine that could generate Morse code. So I sought out my father again, to employ his services. It was the first time I'd seen him since I left the slums 10 years ago. Earlier. Not to go. That implies today. Cool. I like this art. Look at you, Ashley. What a fine gent you've become, eh? He was a different man than the one in my memory. A thin, frail, old man. But poverty had never broken him. never corrupted him like it had me. I was sure that he wouldn't help me if I told him the real reason, so I made up a story. I've got some work for you, Father. I need some music box discs made. Music box discs, eh? A musician friend of mine has written some music he wants to sell to the public. I brought the score with me. There are two, actually. I'd be delighted, son. It's been 20 years since I did any work like this, though. Fetch my tools, would you? They're in the loft. That's how I had him make the 2 discs. Thereby splitting the information in 2. Put a couple of cheap, spooky co-op games in Discord for you to check out later. Alright, I'll peep them. We'll peep. I was protecting myself as much as anything. It meant that I could deal with McGilded in 2 separate transactions. The first involved the first of the 2 discs and the music box for playing them. I exchanged them with McGilded for 10 guineas. Then, on receipt of the second disc, he would pay 1,000 guineas. So, what happened on the omnibus 2 months ago? Was the second part of a deal? The exchange of the second disc? Yes. Oh, he killed his dad. He took the disc and then killed the guy's dad. I feel for Graydon now. He's sexy and sad. I'd sold the man information that way a number of times already, but it seemed he became reluctant to part with his money. But that doesn't quite make sense, Mr. Graydon, for why was it on the omnibus 2 months ago that your father, Mr. Milverton, was the one dealing with Mr. McGilded, and not yourself? The sexy ones always have so much baggage. I can't wait to learn about Von Zeke's baggage. Maybe it's in the next one. Maybe we never learn. It's just silently there. We know he's got baggage, he just doesn't want to share. When I received 1,000 guineas after my first completed dealings with Mr. McGilded, I decided to give 200 to my father for his troubles. But my father realized something was amiss. In time, he worked out that I must be involved in something dubious, and when he did, he said this to me. Next time there's an exchange, you'll let your old man do it, understand? Otherwise, I won't take your money anymore. I promise, Father. That was my father's way of dealing with it, I suppose. Climb into the omnibus, hand over the second disc, and take the money from McGilded. That's it. He had no idea what actually was on the discs I asked him to make. He never knew. Just like I'll never know why everything went so horribly wrong that night. All I know is that the disc was taken from him, and he never returned home. It was only then that I found out what sort of monster McGilded really was. So after 10 years of not once uttering it, I swore on my father's name, that I would dance in the courtroom once more, to exact revenge. Revenge? He set the omnibus on fire. As anyone with even the remotest knowledge of the man would no doubt be able to imagine, McGilded brought all his wealth and influence to bear in the most despicable of ways. He poured that just to smash it, to crush any semblance of justice in his trial. The crime scene was tampered with, evidence was fixed, the witnesses were bribed. That trial 2 months ago was a farce, from start to finish. My feet had barely touched British soil back then, and I walked into that hornet's nest completely unaware of the sinister background to it all. I'd made plenty of money with my dealings with McGilded by then, so I spared nothing in my arrangements 2 months ago. I knew exactly who to hire. Oh, his cane is not broken, it's fixed now. If you're willing to pay the price, there are people in this city willing to do anything you ask. McGilded himself had shown me that. Are you saying that? I think you have the picture now. After he twisted everything in his favor to the courtroom to ensure that he walked free, I took matters into my own hands and delivered justice that monster deserved. That tragic accident following the trial here 2 months ago was planned and executed by yours truly. Migilda's death that day was caused by this man. Got him. Got him on 3 crimes. Who's this guy then? Who led him there? Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. They're going to examine the omnibus, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. So that policeman who came to tell McGilded he could examine the omnibus again. That's right, an imposter, hired by me. McGilded used his wealth to manipulate the trial. He paid people to adulterate the bus, with all manner of false evidence. He did everyone a favor, yeah. But it was also a crime, so... crime doesn't pay. He threatened witnesses to lie in the testimony. So I gave the man a taste of his own medicine. Once the omnibus was doused in paraffin, one of my sham policemen ushered McGilded inside and sent him on a one-way journey to hell. Crime was paying, though, but it didn't pay in the end. McGilded did all those crimes, and it paid him well, but he also paid himself with his life. An eye for an eye. That's how I avenged my father's death. Okay. Jail. A spine-chilling account indeed. But that wasn't the end of it for me. There was a loose end, you see. A loose end? Yes, I should think it's obvious. The second disc, which my father had taken to exchange with McGilded. True, who's the police officer? Ah, yes, there was indeed no mention of it in that man's trial 2 months ago. Clearly because it had become removed from the scene of the crime. When I realized it was missing, I remembered something. Something from the first time I dealt with McGilded. This is the first of the 2 discs, and the music box you need to play them. Well, look at that now. What an ingenious little invention. So then, as promised, 10 guineas for you, young man. What's this? Windibank's pawnbrokery? Aye, 'tis a pawnbroker's ticket, so it is. But you can use it to redeem the article I've deposited there for ye. There's no need to give a name, just hand over the ticket and tell the fiend the watchword. Put a jewel in the pawn for ye. It'll fetch a good 10 guineas if you sell it, so it will. I've never heard of a pawnbrokery being used in quite a way before. Have you not, Mr. Graydon? London's pawnbrokeries are very useful places, you know. Each one is like an extremely secure vault. Ellipses. Triple ellipses. Every time, dude. So I knew that if he'd taken the steps to hide the disc, it would be in that pawnbrokery somewhere. So on the night he killed my father, he must have entrusted the ticket to someone. Yeah, to Gina. I remember now. When we first met you at the Windibanks that afternoon 2 days ago, you had the description of Miss Lestrade written down. How did you know you were looking for her? From the trial, that pickpocket's testimony was clearly peculiar. Anyone could see that. I realized immediately she was another of McGilded's pawns. That he must have threatened her somehow. I was fairly convinced it would be with her who had the ticket. It would be her who had the ticket, so I started to make some inquiries. I had a strong suspicion that the girl would come out of the woodwork for the redemption deadline. And he was absolutely right. And yes, sure enough, she did. All I needed to do was wait until the girl went to the Windibanks to redeem the articles. But unfortunately, she redeemed only Mr. McGilded's overcoat and the one disc that was in its pocket. The all-important music box with the second disc inside was missing, because it had already been forfeited 2 days earlier. But I was unaware of that fact. Had I not been, I could have avoided my nighttime excursion. Meanwhile, as our investigation into the stolen government secrets was progressing, we picked up on the fact that McGilded was involved. Inspector, you recovered fast. My orders were to recover the stolen information as quickly as possible, so we started gathering the fella's possessions and examining whatever we could lay our hands on. We had a full-scale investigation going on at the yard, but we had to keep it as quiet as we could. Then, when the inspector here took the disc from me in the pawnbrokery that day, I became nervous. I was sure the music box and the second disc were in the shop somewhere, so I knew that it was a race against time. I had to find the articles before the police did. So that's what prompted you to break into the place at the same night. With the help of your old friends, the Skulkin brothers. Ellipses. What happened that night in the pawnbrokery, I can only describe as a nightmare. While Nash and Ringo were searching the counter, I'd located the music box I sold to McGilded on the shelves of forfeited articles. And the second disc was inside. Yes, I slipped it into my pocket. That's weird, I did that, twisted that accent again. I slipped it into my pocket, with a very deep sigh of relief. But then, something entirely unexpected happened. What are you doing in my shop? Bang! Bang! He recalls, thrusting back in pain. Ugh! A gunshot rang into the shop, and I felt a sharp pain in my left arm. The broker fired his gun, and the bullet pierced your limb. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, I decided to bring my own gun with me that night, just in case. Bang. Before I knew what was happening, I'd fired back. The man had already turned to flee. I hadn't intended to fire in his direction, much less kill him. But unfortunately, for both of us, the bullet hit home. It struck him in the middle of his back as he fled through the storeroom door for refuge. Shaking my damn head, I'm sorry. A sorry tale. It all took place in the blink of an eye. I don't imagine Nash or Ringo even realized what had happened at first. I was terrified, so I fled. And that's the whole story. That's everything that happened at Winterbanks on that wretched night. The whole truth. He's doing like a weird slouch. Somebody should probably help him with the bullet wound, you know? I don't think it's proper for the witness to be bleeding on the stand, but maybe that's fine here. I don't know how great old British law works. Earlier, you called McGilded a monster. A man who used his wealth and influence to distort the facts and escape justice for the crime of murder. Bacon? He clearly regrets what he did. I say we let him go. I agree. He seems like he wants to repent. Let him do some community service. He just killed a guy by accident, you know? What tragic irony. And then shoot him in the back. You let him go? Alright, you're free to go. You'll have to do some charity work later, but, you know, otherwise you can walk right out that door. Clank. Hits the gavel. It's like, oh, okay. Bang. Judge shoots him right in the back. What you have done is exactly the same. You've become the very monster you saw and despised so deeply in McGilded. Ellipses. Spare the hot blonde. Yes, I think I have. Let him go. Let him go. He killed Pop Windabank by accident, but he also killed Mr. McGilded, who was a devilish fiend. You know, balances. What did they say about the scales of justice? You know, you always keep them balanced. Well, this has been a long and exhausting trial. However, it would seem that at last we have arrived at the truth. Inspector Gregson, what of Mr. Ashley Graydon? He's been restrained, my lord, and is being escorted to the yard. He'll be charged with the murder of Mr. Windabank and the stealing of government secrets. What about... Okay, so he's not charged with the murder of Mr. McGilded. Cool. Because that was a public service. And you, Inspector? Regrettably, you will have to face charges yourself. Please, no. I don't want to. Yes, my lord. Of course. It transpires that you were complicit in helping a criminal escape justice. The fact remains, whether or not you were doing so in the line of duty. The crime is a serious one, Inspector, and inexcusable. Shall sneezing. Bless you. Now to the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. Oh, I forgot Gina's here. Ah, yeah? It is time for the final adjudication. Is the jury ready, Mr. Foreman? Yes, sir. Garrett Ib squad standing by, sir. This is really it now. Who? The last push, the final call. The finishing whistle. My men are ready to deliver the verdicts. My men and women. Mr. Garrett Ib? Ladies and gentlemen, exactly.
Not guilty.
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 The Russian revolutionary is on our side, who is definitely a British citizen. But the scales of justice. Ha ha ha. That's the stuff. I'm off the hook. Finally, Runo, you managed to do it. Finally is the word. I really wasn't sure if we'd come out on top for a while there. Susie was right. You're the best lawyer in the world. In the world? Oh, thank you. Miss Lestrade, I'm not finished with you yet. Eh? What are you looking at me like that for? Before you start enjoying your freedom, there are certain other crimes to consider. Eh? Perjury. 2 months ago in my courtroom, no less, you gave a false testimony, did you not? And in relation to the trial today, not only did you unlawfully enter Mr. Windabank's pawnbrokery, you also attempted to abscond with Mr. McGilded's property, it seems. Eh? He was dead for a long time at that point. Does it count as his property still? I never did nothing of the sort. Of course not. It's not like you were gleefully wearing McGilded's coat in your cell yesterday or anything. Oh, and just when I was getting excited about throwing a pet party for Ginny this evening. And turning our attention to the defense, determining that when played together, the music box discs contain a message in Morse code was, well, it was certainly a most unexpected revelation, counsel. Well, take a sip with him. And when you got a drink up with Van Seeks, dude. Quite so, my lord. The prosecution was caught entirely off guard. In fact, I think we should applaud my learned friend's courage here today. I propose a toast. To demanding that government secrets be disseminated before the entire courtroom. Ah. Drink up. Very sorry about that. It was the only way I could get the Inspector Gregson to admit what he'd done, so... Hello? It's, about the sounds produced by the music box earlier. I do wonder if that was really Morse code at all. What? What are you saying, madam? Oh, well, it's just that I'm really rather fanatical when it comes to Morse code, you see. So much so that the whole world seems to be covered in dots and dashes to me, in fact. She just sees the world. It's like the Matrix code, but it's just dots and dashes. Goodness, madam, an unhealthy love of obsession one feels. But I must say that in my opinion, the sounds produced by those two discs were nothing more than that. A meaningless series of two different tones. What? Can that really be? It wasn't Morse code after all? That was a gentle slapping of the table. My lord, the defense would like to listen to the music box again. Oh, you're off your nut. How many times do I have to tell you? Those discs contain ministerial secrets, Sunshine. This courtroom is not an appropriate forum to discuss the nature of government communications. We know McGilden conspired to trade national secrets with our enemies. Secrets acquired from Mr. Creighton. Now that the man has admitted to his crimes, we have no need to pursue the matter further. But it's really going to bother me. Please, I need to listen to the government secrets. Come on, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, my lord? That what you have seen here today in this courtroom has been extremely disturbing. Falsified evidence, intimidation, perjury, a grim catalogue of depravity. An appalling experience ought to befall any child. Come on, it ain't nothing I don't see most days in the back slums. I beg your pardon? If you're weak, you pay for it. That's just how life goes. Gina. Gina's a hardened criminal. But look, I reckon I've worked something out today. She's not Scottish or Irish or whatever. She's English. She's got like a Cockney accent. But the world ain't fair. But if you want to change it, you gotta start at home. You gotta change how you are yourself. Okay, sure. Well, that's a very laudable lesson, I would say. I eagerly look forward to the born-again Miss Lestrade never gracing my courtroom with her presence ever again. I don't want to see your face. I don't want to smell your presence. I don't want to hear your name. In fact, it'd be better if you were stricken from the court record. Ellipses. Now, with regard to the murder of Mr. Pop Windabank, proprietor of the pawnbroker business on Baker Street, I hereby declare the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, not guilty. Damn, fireworks, dude. That is all. Court is adjourned. Okay. Turn up some Crazy Frog. Yo, where's the Crazy Frog at? On a personal note, I must say you've surprised me, my far eastern friend. Oh. Despite being a Nipponese, you saw through the pretense to the malice that festered within that Englishman, and at the same time saw through the grime to the surprising heart of your English client. You have a curious talent for judging character, especially considering our very different cultures. Gonna go see Crazy Frog at EDC, baby. Oh yeah. Sign me up. I don't think there's anything curious about it. Whether we're from the Empire of Great Britain or the Empire of Japan, we're all human beings. We're not so very different on the inside. You know, I took this case for one simple, very simple reason. To lock swords with you once again here in the courtroom. You did? Does he have a sword? When I encountered you for the first time 2 months ago, it reminded me. He does have a sword. Of toasting, friendship, and trust with another Nipponese, only to find my trust betrayed. Through you, I hope to look into the eyes of the man that I once knew, and try to understand. What? You mentioned something similar earlier today, about a total betrayal at the hands of the Japanese. What happened exactly? A story for another day, well, you may ask. And one day, when the time comes, you will learn the answer, whether you like it or not. Oh, he totally is saving it for later. Alright then, I'll wait for that day if I must. Take a sip with him. Coming to be known as the Reaper of the Bailey, and my retirement from service 5 years ago. It gives me cause to wonder if our meeting has some deeper purpose. I like to think he never washes cups. He just breaks them. Man, this one took us so long. I almost don't want to start the other one for a bit. Because apparently the cases in the second one are all like this length. So farewell, my learned Nipponese fellow, until we meet again. Yay, we're friends with him now, though. But we must. I didn't say we're never gonna do it. But we'll take a break. You know, these games came out like 2 years apart anyway. I'm not gonna say we're gonna take 2 years, but we'll take some time. We'll let it settle. Let the dust settle on this one. I think there's a time jump anyways. It's done. It's over at last. But where's Iris disappeared to? Ah, congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were totally innocent, completely and utterly. I had no doubts. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruto. You believed in me, right up to the end. You're as old as your name. What's odd about it? I told you that I had faith in you, didn't I? No one ever has before, see? Kept a promise, I mean. Properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life, growing up in the slums, I never trust no one. Well, that's just cause I was scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yeah, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh, well, if you say so. Don't make a fat lot of sense to me, though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, it's alright. Thanks. Thanks. It's alright. This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. One last time. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Look at his brilliant smile. Radiant. Pardon the interruption. But what the deuce does that man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? Oh, that voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. ha. Yes, it was me all along, I would have said when you finally noticed me. But you people, with your incessant babbling. Mr. Sholmes. Ha ha. Yes, it was me all along, you see? I thought he was dying. I'd assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. Oh. I happen to be aware of one or two foibles of the doctor who is tending to me. I merely made my knowledge known to them to the man, and he'd happily issue me a leave of absence. I thought you died. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations, Arnold. As a close friend, I tip my hat to you. Oh, thanks. Thanks, dude. Some great detective you are. Some great detective you are. Being cold as ice, maybe. Gina's a little, like, Aussie now. New Zealander. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? Well, you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed. Some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps cold as ice, but, well, have a feel. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Sholmes? Here, have a feel. Don't. I don't want to feel. And in some way, I suppose, congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but... An acquittal in the trial with a particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precarious. Well done, Mr. Sholmes. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the raper, you mean? Of course, anyone who's not found not guilty in a trial he was working winds up dead, you say. Is that it? The very point I was trying to make. As exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Ah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? Of course not. The way I see it, the Reaper's a bit like him upstairs. Him upstairs? Time to kill Gina? Well, if you don't believe in the Reaper, Gina, then obviously this'll do nothing. You mean, like, Big JC? Yeah, him upstairs knows what's what, alright? He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There's some coves like that, Bob Trotter, who rot to the, what are rotten to the core. Some of these are just gnarly, dude. At the end of the day, him upstairs makes sure they get what they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing, though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming the lives is another. He does have a sword. Well, ain't like the McGildeds of this world, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? Smoking my pipe. A trait in which you is to be admired, Mr. Lestrade. Oi, just give it a rest already, alright? As I was saying, congratulations, Arnolda. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Thanks. There you are, Hurley. Where have you been? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Ah, Iris, my dear, I do apologize. But, wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room dressed as a bailiff. But these dogs didn't know my presence at all. Ah ha ha ha, they had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon. I'm sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in some trouble one day. Is that a hint? I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm going to be going nowhere for a while. You heard the judge's power. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All of them offences. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking a bog trot of stuff was a lug, blah blah blah. Yeah, I think you'll find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But diving ain't an offense, it's a job, innit? I don't think so. They let her keep the coin, though. Still, it's got me thinking, all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a lawyer, did you, Odo? Well, no. But I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I could make a change. I'm gonna do something, for all the lot like me, back in the slums. Something makes a difference for them. That's a wonderful idea, Ginny, and I'm sure you can do it. Heh heh heh. What is it? Evil laugh. Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade. The prison carriage is arrived, ma'am. Come on, get in. Right, well, looks like I'm off then. Yeah, goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Odo. Yeah? Put that down! Put it down! Yeah. What was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so I'll just blast you. Ah, indeed. Perhaps the situation calls for a phrase hitherto missing from your vocabulary, Mr. Lestrade. Eh? On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh. Oh, yes. It's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well, thanks. Well, she took her hat off. I don't think I've seen her without the hat. Thanks, Odo. I was half expecting her to be bald underneath. Oh, she's crying. Thank you for everything what you've done. For believing in me. Look at that smile. I'm glad we protected that smile. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. She was never seen again. Straight to jail. Well, there she goes. Whoa, there she goes. She's a man-eater. What's that? Today, Junior.
Once there was a girl who wanted
Kid can't even read.
to
Cut it out, dude. You're gonna get us in trouble.
Today, Junior?
There we go. Well, well, quite the indomitable pick purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I brought the paper outside. I bought the paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page. Pickpockets, innocence proven. Isn't it wonderful? You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh, fuck. How silly of me. I've completely buggered it. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Ah, fuck. Not again. Well, what do you say, Bruno? Hurley? As usual, I think I'd rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Alright, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall, apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? A huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of the Dover has been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. Susie! But there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station early and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. I don't... The great detective does it again. Indeed, he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles, so he's just blackmailing everyone. I merely made my knowledge of them to be known to the man, and he happily laid it on the locomotive. Elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people in that way. It may become a crime one day. What are we waiting for, then? To London, Victoria. Susie! That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Miss Susato, where are you? Probably on the boat, dude. Oh no, she's on the dock. On a pier. Over there, look. Looks like she's reading something. A book, maybe. Oh, hold it! Miss Susato, wait! What are you doing? What? Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we've heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you were about to throw into the sea. It was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. Ellipses. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now. So, I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to the law? You, Susato-san? You love the law. More than you love air. Would I be correct in assuming? It's because of the peephole, Miss Susato. I deliberately altered the scene of the crime, and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina's gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? On the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband. Yeah, please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. But if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flap romantic, so I put it up my sleeve. Really? Then I rather forgot about it, until I found myself in Mr. Winterbank's shop with it later that night. I see. And then? bonk. I used it. Bang. I remember. After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think that the door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes, if Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could be only behind that door. And so at that moment, the little device I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So, you used the cat flap-o-matic to make the peephole in the door. As captured in the photographic print of the shop by one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was one of the first importances at that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon. Though naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. When I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered that trial from 2 months earlier. The trial of Magnus McGilded. I thought about how he manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. Hear that? Britain? Dark and sinister. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if? What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Windibank. Cold and sinister. Even though I was sure he would never have done such a thing, you were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime? That's right, but then I realized it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there must have been a way to see beyond the door. Ah. For which, a peephole would be the very thing. Only the peephole I made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that you made the peephole to anyone, not even the police. I know. And I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong, a criminal offense even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. If Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape, the truth about the people could save him. That was my plan. She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you're not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit to the whole escapade. In the whole escapade. You could have been disbarred if you had been seen having knowingly tampered with the crime scene. So Mr. Sato decided to shoulder the burden of the responsibility alone. For your sake, and for Miss Lestrade's. Miss Susato. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I'd lost a little of my faith in the law. Oh. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convicted of the crime, but the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. Ellipses. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied on the witness stand using the people as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the people inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you've saved me too, from my regrets. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrade's freedom has been assured. Yeah, exactly. Although some of the loose ends in the trial will continue to play in my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation of the music box contained secret messages. Mr. Naruhodo, what's the message, though? What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. Oh, it wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator, and she said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written on a cipher, to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. A cipher, I see. So then, we could have never have hoped to understand the message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-byte problem, I assure you. Ellipses. So... Gi? What? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? That's, Kazuma's name. Asogi. Oh, I just said Asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Mean something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. What? Oh my god, this is gonna end on a cliffhanger, isn't it? But how? How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing in the music box. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message would probably be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. But whenever I tried, the words didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. They're Japanese! It suddenly occurred to me, you see, there's more than one Morse code. Not just the English variety. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying... That's right. I've actually only seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before. But I think it's based on the Iroha panagram, isn't it? You mean to say that Japanese Morse code, the message says Asogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Mr. Sato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure that Morse code will become ever so important in the international communications. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version? Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. He's alive! He's alive! I don't know if he's alive. But what can this possibly mean? Whatever it is in that long sequence of supposedly meaninglessly... I mean, we saw him bonk his head and die, right? We saw his body. It's made the color drain from Susudo-san's face. There's no doubt this message is written in Japanese Morse code. He was napping? He's in the mortuary? Oh shit. Nani? So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names. The first is Kei Asogi Kazuma. Why? Why was his name on that disc? The second is A. Shin. I don't know who that is. Shin. I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gudegusen. Tobias. Gregson. Gudegu. Ah, it would seem that Tobias Gregson is the third man on the list. And what is his name doing in a secret government communication as well? Where's my sword? And the last name... What's the matter, Mr. Sato? It's just so strange, so unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. The last name is J. Wilson. John Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? Sholmes is smiling. John Wilkes Booth. Hey, Mr. President? Yeah. Here's some apple juice. You thirsty? It only says John J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that is the end of the message, or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of disturbingly familiar names, except for Shin. We don't know who Shin is. It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So, Daddy could be in Japan then, where Susie and Runa come from. Oh, well, maybe. No. It's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be lots of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yume University. But we can't tell Iris about that now. We just can't. This is so... Otherwise, the game won't end. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Windibank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. Dark. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Honk. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yeah, it seems so. I'll sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I'll change onto the larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. Going to Dunkirk, baby. So you're really going then, Susie? We wish you a safe passage, Mr. Sato. Thank you so much. I bet there are a lot of people. I wish you all the very best. Miss Susanoo, I had hoped you'd always be at my side to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please, come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure I'll be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh, now don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Ah. Oh yeah, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, I'll be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah? Do you remember the first time we met? Yeah, of course. On the SS Burrier, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with the Susanoo takedown. You knew very well what I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. Mr. Sato. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I'm sure that. I'll be back soon. Farewell until then. Sayonara. Oh, anime.
Somehow we seem to have come to the end of the adventures of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Or the first volume, at least. Looking back now, it feels as though fate has led me on this journey.
Herlock Sholmes does not give a shit, by the way. He's not even here. He's not running with us.
Fate led me to becoming a lawyer, to traveling halfway around the world, to meeting the great detective.
I can't hear you.
I'm sure there'll be trials and tribulations ahead. Of course there will. But whatever happens,
that's his voice.
I know I'll be able to turn my fortunes around.
Canonically. He's playing the violin, dude. I love it.
After all,
I'm stoked. The cat looks bigger.
I have the
Well,
greatest friends
it's
in
been
the
a few
world
days.
on my side.
Canonically, that's his voice. But we are playing as him, so his voice is my voice. I speak normally when I'm Ryunosuke. He doesn't sound very... Well, he said his name with a very thick accent. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I have some rather awkward news. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. What? It caused such a commotion on the line, all the other trains had to wait at the stations. But really, we would have never made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything, and... and how it was all your fault. Why does he have to sound Asian? That's true, I guess. I mean, he's been in England for, what, 2 months? 2 months? And he somehow speaks very fluent English immediately. Immersion. I want to be immersed. In fact, all Japanese characters' text should be in katakana and hiragana and kanji. With English text above it, so obviously I can read, but I believe the formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow. But not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato, you love defending yourself in court. Oh god, I gotta defend myself again? Uh-huh. That's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. He really didn't look like the sort of man who'd do something so outrageous. See? What the Mr. Sholmes? Yes? Word, if you don't mind. Why, certainly. Any word you like. Bellow it out, my dear fellow. Oh, yes, I love Bruno's words, and I know the one he'll just use here. Then, I really must say... Objection! Objection! That was a really cute way to end it. There was points that I thought definitely dragged, like where they would show flashbacks of things that had literally just happened. And it really dragged in that last case. But I loved it. I thought this was great. Great character designs. I legitimately loved a lot of the character designs. I thought everyone looked really... The only thing I don't like is Iris's outfit. I don't really dig the steampunk look or whatever they're going for here. Sholmes' outfit's great. His casual outfit is really good. Otherwise... Yeah, her outfit was a little too gaudy. Oh my god, I forgot about Ouchie, dude! I totally forgot about this guy, this horn dog. Remember, he was like, oh no. The swan lady, she's too beautiful. She couldn't have done it. And the baby! Wonderful video game. I hear the second one's even better, so I'm excited to try it eventually. Not right now. Ouchie's the biggest simp of the game, and I hope he returns. I want to see him again, just so we can rag on him. Oh my god, Hosonaga! He was great too. We never found out why he was mysteriously bleeding. I've done nothing wrong. He brought the cat on board? Oh god. I thought he left the cat behind. Do we think Kazuma's alive? He must be, right? And so is Wilson. He faked his death. For us, though, he's supposed to be our best friend. Do you think he did it with a good reason? He was a government agent. Maybe he's doing undercover investigations. So if he appears in the next game, do you think it'll be as just a supporting character, or do you think he'll appear as like a perpetrator? Because you can't fake kill him and then kill him again, so he's not going to be a victim. It's not like we're going to find Kazuma's dead body and be like, wait, he already died. He's the last deterrent. Ooh, what if in the final case? Yeah, dude. The last case of the second game, you gotta go against Kazuma. And you got the Reaper of the Bailey on your side? Oh. You like team up with Von Zeeks? I'm stoked. Kazuma alive copium? He's gotta be alive. Why would they mention him? Same with John H. Wilson. Why would they mention those names? If they're not coming back. Or if we're not gonna see them. They may not be alive, but we're gonna see them again. 100%. Oh, Roly. Oh, Pat. I hate those guys. Do we need to make room for copium? No. Copium is... Do we have slots left? I don't know. Is copium an emote? You can take something else out. You know, you have the power. I don't know how he... Maybe he just kept the uniform. Oh. Gina in prison? Hey guys. Gina's still here, hanging out in jail. But regrets, please. Give it over, bruv. That ain't the Ash we used to know. We've got time here to plan the comeback of the Milverton and Skulkins. The Three Muskewatsits. Milking the neighborhood for all it's worth. I think this is cute too. You get to see what everyone's up to post-game. Or in the meantime sort of deal. That's nice. It's like an epilogue. The ghost of Susudo. Hey, what you guys up to? It's just being in jail. Oh, that's a cute pic. Let me snap that. Oh, even better. That's a cute pic. Sholmes in his best outfit, of course. That was wonderful. Where's my achievement? Kazuma? Yeah, they knew which outfit was the best outfit. Oh, is this gonna be like how things went, and then eventually Cosmo's just gonna drop dead, and I'm gonna take his armband and sword off his corpse? Oh yeah, get the best view in the house. Swan Hat Lady, the criminal herself. Susado's dad, clenched fists, dude. The snake? It's beef stroganoff, guys! It's beef! Everyone's favorite character. His belly button showing. The fish tie. Great touch. That's some grade A character design. And then we left him behind. Notice he didn't drop dead. The dancer. Bye, Kazuma. He left us. I'll take those. Thank you. Strong heart. Welcome to my trick. Fuku Fuku. Beppo. And the Hatter. Mikkel's flicking a coin at us. He didn't do his pose. That's his iconic villain pose. Sholmes in his worst outfit. He didn't burst into flames. True. He could be alive. See, that I would buy because he's such a villainous little twat. You know? He's got the means to fake his own death. Oh my god, I didn't realize he had, the Japanese sandals on or whatever. He just got bare feet. Come on, Iris. They choose the leg pick for Barak von Zeeks, of course, of course. Great picture for Gina. Don't shoot us! Put that down! Put it away! Capcom. That was great. Finn. There goes Adventures. Now we gotta... What's the second one called? It's called Resolve or something? I don't remember. But we'll probably do that. Not this month. Maybe November? Maybe we'll start it in November? We'll see. What is this? Is that a teaser? That's brand new art of our boys. Oh, and the title changed. Nice. That's great. I wonder if there's concept art from the first game only. I don't want to get spoiled on anything in the second one. Gallery. Portraits. Okay, no. They're not separated by game, so I'm out of here. No spoilers, please. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to Outlast. Turn off the Switch for now. Go to sleep. And I'm gonna hit John. I'm gonna give him a little pat on the head real quick. So I'll be right back. Stay safe.